CEO, entrepreneur, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bezos, looking more and more every single day like a goblin ghoul with every single billion that he collects from workers, is now coming out of the woodwork, swinging, pissing every single person off because he's talking about how taxing billionaires won't actually help workers across the country, which we all know is some horseshit hullabaloo. Not to mention the guy is sucking up to Donald Trump to the max, giving him a nice old reach around love tap, talking about how he's actually more mature now than ever, one for the culture right there, and it makes sense because Trump has saved Bezos billions of dollars and he'll donate to his campaign, so, it kind of checks out. But now we have this interview from Lex Luthor over here that we're going to be taking a look at, and it gets so bizarre, so let's dive right in.
Jeffrey Bezos.
All right, we're going to start with the clip that is kind of making the rounds online right now where Bezos is talking about how taxing billionaires actually won't help anyone out. So here we go.
Well, then maybe I am.
These people sometimes say that I don't pay taxes. That's not true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes.
Whatever.
And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions,
right,
then let's have that debate. But don't...
No, I think you're mistaken. It's not a debate anymore. It's not a debate. You need to pay more in taxes, right? And also it's because that we don't tax your wealth, right? The government doesn't tax the hundreds of billions of dollars that Jeff Bezos has in his net worth. Instead, they tax his revenue or his income, which he can set to whatever the fuck he wants it to be. He could make 80 grand in a year, even though he owns $500 million yachts. Just that's a little interesting, isn't it? A little interesting. That's all.
Pretend, that's going to solve the problem.
It will.
You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you.
He's right, actually, because doubling zero to zero, doubling zero just makes zero again. So, yeah, I guess that wouldn't help anyone. No. Doubling is actually being rather kind to what we should be doing to the amount of wealth that Jeff Bezos has,
So you can't connect those two things, not logically. There are more examples. Why is rent expensive? Why is rent so expensive?
Private equity buying up housing.
I recently saw somebody blamed it on Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb is not the cause of expensive rent. In fact, it's been almost, let me finish here, one sec. It's already been outlawed in New York City, and rents are still very high. So we know Airbnb.
Oh my God, what a troglodyte. He's arguing a straw man here, right? Someone's saying Airbnb as a cause, right, as a symptom of this bigger problem, right, allowing these large conglomerate corporations like BlackRock and Airbnb to lease out housing units or buy housing units and then just rent them off for people who will never own them. That's the problem, right? It's not just Airbnb. Airbnb isn't the sole evil eye, big brother that's destroying everything. It's not Airbnb, right? But he's just claiming that it is. It's such a straw man. But Bezos here is obviously he's lying, right? He's covering up for a lot of things because first things first, right? If we look here, this is how billionaires save all of their money, right? They actually have, they grow their wealth a bunch, but then they report a specific amount of income, and then that income is what is taxed, right? And so those percentages can be super freaking low, anywhere from, 3.7% for Elon Musk, I don't know, this looks a little funky here, but, 0.98% income tax on Jeff Bezos right here in 2021, I believe this ProPublica reporting is from, but that's not even half of it. Donald Trump obviously lowered the tax rates for billionaires through his, tax bills, and then the one big beautiful bill made it even worse. And on top of all of that, yes, private industries do actually buy a lot of housing. 2025 quarter 2, 33%, right? It's the highest percentage of investor purchases in the last 5 years. Great, that's awesome. So it proves exactly what I'm talking about here. Jeff Bezos is just, a lying fool, and obviously raising the wealth tax would actually help a teacher in Queens, right? Bernie Sanders' wealth tax bill raised starting teacher pay to $60,000, gives $12,000 to working family for, expand Medicare, dental, guaranteed universal childcare, and homelessness. He's lying, right? He's lying. And his wealth, oh, look at that. It drops from $279 to $265. How poor Jeffrey Bezos. But this isn't even the half of it, guys. This isn't even the half of it, because then he continues the rest of this interview to gargle Trump's balls. Let's take a look at this clip right here. It is so nuts. Here we go.
I think he has. I'm comparing him to his first term.
Talking about Trump here.
And I think he is a more mature, more disciplined version of himself than he was in his first term. And, so he's, again, I've worked with all the presidents. I will work with all the presidents, and I hope to do that going forward if they'll have me. But we need our...
If they'll have me. No, a billionaire shouldn't exist in the first place, dude. But beyond that, talking about how, oh, Donald Trump's matured. He's matured. Okay, he's matured from what? The dude was already in his 70s when he ran the first time, and now you're saying, oh, he's a lot more mature this time around in his second term. First off, no, right? Insane thing to say. That's just a billionaire using his, language to try to suck up to Trump a little more, even though he gave him 40 million bucks for his campaign. Beside the point. But he's also, at this point, how can you even say that? Beyond being a billionaire that is like financially tied and invested in Donald Trump being the president and the Republican Party maintaining control of Congress and all of this, so to make you more rich, calling Donald Trump more mature in his second term is like saying that season 8 of Game of Thrones is better than season 4, right? It's just not. That's not true. It's not true. It's just not true, right? And even people have been pointing this out online right here, right? Mehdi Hassan says Trump has lots of good ideas as billionaire speak for he is cutting my taxes and regulations, but then he also says it is insane for anyone to claim that Trump is more mature and more disciplined now. No, yeah, he posted that he was Jesus, right? He's calling Obama, monkeys on the timeline, right? He's saying that Democrats are traitors. He's invading Iran. He's deporting, millions of people without actual cause. He's like murdering American citizens. The guy is off one, right? But Bezos is just so invested in the Republican Party and Donald Trump being a successful political operation that he has to suck up and gargle Trump's nuts every single chance he gets. But we're not even done. Let's continue.
Business leaders to provide input into the administration, regardless of who the president is. I'm not on the side.
Yep.
You know what? I'm on the side of America.
Oh, shut up. You're on the side of your bank account, dude. We all know it. Come on, I'm on the side of America. That's why I pay my workers 2 cents and have them piss in plastic bottles. And if they miss one delivery, they're getting sent to the dungeons. Right? Come on, Jeff. Like, dude, come on.
And that is so important. And that's where business leaders should be. It's just.
And do you think they're not?
No. I think we are, but we get perceived as being partisan or whatever.
We're perceived as partisan. Well, it's interesting when you're donating $40 million to Donald Trump's campaign and that you're have legitimate we have 50 years of experience showing that the Republican Party is a better party for private equity and businesses, right? Because they lower regulations, they allow lower taxes on those with a bunch of money. They create this incentive for these mega corporations and monopolies to thrive, right? Whereas Democrats, although are still controlled by the same corporate interests, have some legitimacy to their base to try to stand up for unions, right? And workers' rights and tenant rights every now and then, right? So they have to push back a little bit, right? But whereas the Democrats push back a little bit, the Republicans are like, no, come over to this side, dude. We'll give you whatever the fuck you want, right? Oh, you're a billionaire? Say less, right? Say less. It's fine. Come over here, right? That so brazenly idiotic.
I was helping Obama every chance I could. I was helping Biden every chance I could. I still call Obama for advice. He's a very smart guy, and and by the way, people that are. Trump has lots of good ideas, and he's been right about a lot of things. You have to give him credit where credit is due.
Let me pivot.
The reporter. He has a lot of what? He has a lot of good ideas. Okay, sure. Yeah, okay. All right. Moving on. Oh man, oh boy. But if you thought we were done, yeah, no, think again. Think again. So now Jeff Bezos is trying to go on this I'm actually the savior of the working class tour, I think is what he's trying to do here before he fires them all and replaces them with robots, I'm sure, right? But he's talking about here, we don't even need to watch the clip. It's so fucking ridiculous. But he's saying, oh, there's things in this country, right? There's a people with a bunch of money and there's people who are struggling, right? Struggling to pay rent and groceries. Yeah, because of your people like your dumbass. What's happening here is politicians are using some kind of age-old technique, picking a villain and pointing fingers. But the problem is that it doesn't solve anything. Hold on. He's not talking about himself.
And so, if you want to help the group of people who they're using this age-old technique of, picking a villain and pointing fingers. But the problem is that doesn't solve anything.
They're pointing the fingers at me and they're saying I'm the villain? Well, the problem is that doesn't solve anything because I'm not the villain. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are literally the cartoon villain. You are Lex Luthor, right? You are literally the cartoon villain, and that's what people are saying. They're saying it's like if Democrats were throwing darts at a wall and they hit billionaires, right? That's what he's framing it as. Is that this? Just close your eyes. oh, the enemy today is billionaires. No, that's what actually Republicans and right-wing fanatics do when they throw a dart at the board and they say, okay, trans people, black people, immigrants, people who wear hijabs, those are the criminals. Those are the villains. We have to go after them. That's the Republican strategy. The Democratic strategy is to actually look at the systems and see the systemic, oppression and the mechanisms that uphold the government and uphold private business, being that protecting people like you, right, at the cost of American workers. Shocker. Shocker, I know. Shocker, I know. But then Bezos is like, I'm the hero of working class. I'm basically God amongst men. I'm so cool and awesome. And also it looks like I got a facelift like literally 2 seconds ago where it looks like there's plastic literally like oozing out of my pores. But beside the point, he's saying that now people making less than, 100K or whatever it is should not be paying any taxes at all, right? So instead of paying them more, let's just have them not pay taxes, right? Cool. Great idea, Bezos. Yeah, throw it to the government, even though you hate the government. Whatever, can of worms. But yeah, he's saying all this bullshit, but, and at the surface level, you might be like, yeah, I don't have to pay taxes. Yes, that's awesome. Well, no, you should just be getting paid more, and then you still pay your fair share in taxes, because as this person points out that I really, really liked, I'm gonna talk about it, because this person admits, yeah, this sounds nice, but it's a great way to undermine the welfare state. And I completely agree. The strongest welfare states in the world, the Nordics, tax everyone, including nurses, doctors, whatever the fuck. And they give everyone universal healthcare, childcare, pensions, education in return, right? It's not like asking for charity. It is just something that the government does for every single person, right? When the middle class has skin in the game, they defend the system, right? When welfare is just for the poor, it becomes a poor program, stigmatized, underfunded, easily to gut. That's why he keeps pushing this idea. The real scandal isn't that the nurse pays $12K, it's that Jeff Bezos pays $0. And I just thought that was such a good way to put it that I just figured I would read it out for us all here. And this is not the only person, talking shit about Jeff Bezos. This person says, you really think we're stupid, you raggedy piece of shit? We all saw you say that yourself are against paying more taxes, so you just want to cut public service and fuck off everyone with less than you while you get rich by paying people shit wages. Get fucked. Also agree. We have another name that you may not recognize, a fellow billionaire, Tom Steyer, when he says double your taxes won't help with anything. He says, this is bullshit, I promise you. Tax the billionaires, invest in schools. So again, a billionaire, some would say class trader out here saying, you know what, actually no, Jeff Bezos is wrong. And then Fran Lebowitz right here has this great messaging where a lot of people talk about, even here in California, out in New York, and a lot of these big cities, they're like, well, if you tax billionaires more, they're going to leave. They're going to leave. Where's all the businesses? The business is going to leave. And I just want you to listen to what she has to say about this. Let's take a look.
Yes. I mean, and, they're always, every time someone suggests this, they say, I'm moving. Go. They add nothing to New York. In the olden days, in the 19th century, those robber barons, they employed people at least. Okay? They employed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. All this money magic employs no one. It is no product. It has no, goodbye, go. We're moving to Florida, go. We don't need you.
Exactly, right? These billionaires, all their wealth is tied up in AI and crypto and Dogecoin or whatever the fuck. Like, that's not, like, shut up. Yeah, exactly. The people who used to be the billionaires had a lot of workers, right? But now Jeff Bezos, doesn't matter where the fuck he lives, right? It doesn't matter, right? If you move, okay, right? A lot of this money is tied up in yeah, exactly. She says money magic, right? A lot of their money's tied up in the markets and everything like that. But I just want to end this video off with something very poignant, where there's this website called Spend Jeff Bezos' Money. And you get a number up here, and you can just choose to buy a bunch of stuff. And, you could buy, let's say, 1,000 mansions. Screw it, let's buy 1,000 mansions. And we still have this much money left. Or, you know what, let's end homelessness one time over. Let's do that. Okay, great. We still have that much money left. Okay, awesome. Let's buy 10 private jets. Can we do that? Yeah, let's buy 50. Let's buy 50 private jets. It's great. Yeah, who cares? And you know what? We'll also buy a tiger and everything on Amazon, right? And you still have money left over. It just goes to show that these people's money is just like, it's fake, right? They have so much unbelievable money that is not taxed. It is just sitting there for them to just throw around whatever willy-nilly. So, go check out the website, spend Jeff Bezos' money, but you can also choose Marky Mark. You can choose Mike Bloomberg, Donald Trump, the federal government if you wanted to, Warren Buffett. They don't have Elon up here, which is a bit of an unfortunate one. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw in this video, be sure to leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, have a great day. I'm Iago Lashua. Goodbye.